Hi, friends. It's Sunday afternoon, 3 p.m. my time. Today, chapter 3 of book 4. It's only 6 pages long. This leads to a big battle and probably the longest chapter of my book, 20 pages long. So, buckle up and let's get started. Enjoy, because I'm not feeling so hot today. It's the medicine I take. Made me sick. Bad. So forgive me if I'm really not into this today. Alright, let's get started. Chapter 3. Glad you and your daughter made it on board before we left for Geyzel Cloud City, Doctor. Stephen says as Dr. Ploxica and his daughter walk onto the Hornet's Bridge. They're escorted by Julia and a couple of samurai warriors as the Hornet jumps into hyperspace. Thank you, Admiral. Ploxica says as he admires the Hornet's large bridge. Impressive. Thank you, Professor. Stephen says as the professor walks around the large bridge while his daughter, Amina Plaxica, stands behind Rena asking about the numerous readouts and scans before the captain. Sorry. I hope your people allow my daughter and me to stay on Centauri Prime and become members of the rebellion, Admiral Plaxica says. Stephen! Rena calls out as she hears flash news over her radio headphones. What is it, Rena? Erd has reached that the world formerly known as L382b, also known as Pan, has been destroyed by the Empire. Comes a clear signal over the bridge loudspeakers as Rena switches the signal to the loudspeakers. It has to do with the help from the new secret weapon, the new Dark Star. Due to the insurgents fighting against the rightful authority of the Emperor and the Mammoth crime syndicate. Interesting. Oh my God, Rena says softly. They would destroy their own world? Amina says flatly. Emperor may have ordered it, Stephen says, shaking his head. I showed you a picture of what the Emperor looks like. He's a creepy looking thing. Being. Alright, that's page 1, chapter 3. No way of knowing. Suppose we'd been on the planet when this happened. We'd all be dead, too. Stephen says. We did leave some of our special forces, sadly. 12 advisors lost in the destruction. There were some 10 billion beings on the planet, Ploxica says. How many were off planet? Stephen asks. I say maybe 2 million, maybe more. I talked to my father. I think my people on Centauri Prime will allow your survivors to come to Prime and take up residence there. Thank you, Your Highness, Ploxica says, nodding. Okay, just I'm going to have to rewrite this a little bit. Hang on. Stephen and Julia have returned back to themselves since boarding the Hornet, looking human again. And they are back in their regular clothes. They now wear their cloaks, common to all samurai warriors, and hanging at their sides their samurai sword hilts. They lost two samurai in the fight on Pan, trying to escape from the Imperial forces and the new enhanced troopers, Justin Bates and Justine Coates of Centauri Prime. It was a tough fight to hold the gates leading to the office block. Give me a second, sorry, I'm thirsty. If you're wondering, it's Coca-Cola. Ice cold Coke. Alright. And as long as they are not loyal to the Empire, they'll be welcome to Prime. Let me change that. Sorry. Welcome on Prime, Stephen says. There are not many loyal residents to the Empire, Admiral Plaxica says. Most are only loyal to the Mammoths, who are loyal to the Empire, Amina says. Where do your loyalties lie, Professor? Stephen asks now. My loyalty lies with the rebellion. I did my best to delay the Dark Star construction as much as possible, but the Emperor threatened death to anyone who delayed his baby's completion. Plaxicus says, I understand that he had the tongue of the station commander cut out when the Dark Ninja arrived to make an example of meeting the Emperor's demands. This makes Stephen and Julia look at him curiously. 10 billion dead in the blink of an eye, Amina's dad says, shaking his head. Mind you, sir, I am still mourning the loss of some 7 billion dead on Earth, Stephen says. So I understand what you're going through. That's due to about 2.5 million survivors who were off world when Earth was obliterated. Seeing stuff I gotta fix. Okay. Just checking, scanning the page before I turn it over. Thank you, Admiral. Plaxica says, nodding as he looks filled with sorrow. My wife was on Pan. I'm sorry. So very sorry. Stephen says, resting a hand on the man's shoulder. I will do everything I can to help you defeat the Empire, Admiral Spears, Plaxica says. I finally got a name, pronounced his name right. I still have problems pronouncing it. It's just a weird spelling I gave him. Thank you, Doctor, Stephen says, nodding. You and your daughter should be prepared for some serious questions when we reach Centauri Prime. My daughter and I are ready for anything, Admiral Plaxica says. Good, do not worry. I will vouch for you if you need help, Stephen says, nodding. Thank you, Admiral Plaxica says, smiling. All right. I need a drink. Sorry. All right. I'll break for a minute anyway. That's a little snag I left in the story. That was the present the Emperor promised in Chapter 2. The obliteration of Pan. P-A-H-M, Pan. That was yeah. But you think of the fact that I have the star system near the center of the galaxy, near the black hole, Sagittarius A star. What do you think? Interesting. I couldn't figure out where I was going to put it. The star system would be. I decided to use a supermassive red giant and put it near the center of the galaxy. And there you are. I handwrote this version of it. I didn't have any idea where I was going to put it. Okay, back to the book. I only have three pages left. The Hornet and her escorts arrive in the Centauri Prime system a day later. The Plaxica family is questioned for 3 days before being released into the general population of Centauri Prime, in addition to providing checkups for any foreign diseases and other health concerns. They are cleared and permitted to go about their lives freely. They are given some money and a villa outside the city to settle down, as word goes to all surviving Pan residents. They make their way to Centauri Prime, where they will have a home free of the Empire. A few defecting Imperials are among the survivors. They are coming to Prime to ask for asylum and protection. As long as they keep their Imperial ideas off-world, they are welcome. Just delete that now. Imperial ideas off-world. Okay. Dietrich's. I've heard good things about this place, Father. Amina says as they move towards the never closed pub. People walk in and out smiling, and music wafts out of the opening as well. So have I, Amina, her father says. I'd met the owner, Captain Seth Dietrich of planet Earth. Good man, I hear, she says as they pass through the entrance. I see that the place is booming. I understand he is an admiral now. Yes, he is. Cares for his friends and what he calls his family, her father says as they move towards the bar. As they sit at the bar, a bartender walks up smiling. What can I get you to? She asks. Jack Daniels, please, he says, smiling. He rests his hand on the age verifier and gets a green light. Everybody has to. That was something I created in book one, I think. Same, please, Amina says, doing likewise and getting a green light. Dietrich pours. Oh, sorry. Dietrich pours 2 glasses full of 1,000-year-old whiskey and pushes them across the bar top to the new customers as Stephen walks up and stands behind them, resting his arms on the backs of their shoulders. She'd recently married Sep. Bay, I should say. Sorry. B, whatever. Change that. B recently married Sep when they fell head over heels for each other. Stephen served as the best man. B, please put their drinks on my tab, he says, smiling. All right, yeah, here we go. You got it, Admiral, B says, smiling, knowing the Admiral is good for his bar tabs. He sat down next to Amina and leans over to ask, so how do you like it here in Centauri Prime? There's a big difference between living in a global metropolis like Pan and other places, right? Yeah, like this. Yes, it is, Admiral. Amina says, It's so refreshing to live in a world where the air isn't recycled. And the people here are very friendly and inviting, her father says. The questions were tough and rigorous, but I took them one at a time. I did not hold back any information either. I was able to help with the schematics for the new Dark Star 2 as I was one of the senior project managers on the station. He continues, I just hope your people find a weakness in the station soon. I do not want what happened to Pan to happen to another rebel world. And to Earth, Sep Dietrich says, between belches. I'm very drunk tonight. Forgive me. Don't worry about it, Admiral, Amina says, nodding. Today is the first anniversary of the destruction of planet Earth and the Battle of the Void. In one corner, a Christmas tree stands next to Sep Natuk, sits talking with his friend and fellow samurai warrior Julia Larkin Spears. At the same time, newly promoted Rear Admiral Rigo and Captain Baxter celebrate their promotions. As a matter of nostalgia, Sep, Stephen, and Hannah have recently returned to the Sol system to visit the wreckage that was once planet Earth. Drink time. I'll get back up. I started earlier before I get sick. Oof. Everyone at the table feels their phones buzz. Stephen, looks like we will be having a briefing in an hour, Rena says, looking at her smartphone. I see that, Stephen says, looking at his smartphone too, and as do Sep and Hannah. They must have found something, Hannah says. We better get going then, Stephen says. He gets up to pay for his drinks along with everyone else at the table. It's fun. They hurry to the large briefing room where many senior rebel commanders are assembled around the rotating 3D rendering of the Dark Star 2. At the same time, many rank and file members enter the large briefing room in small groups and individually. My friends, Grand Admiral Vaughn, most senior officer in the Alliance, speaks up. As many of you already know in the system L382, the planet we only knew as planet L382b, known to its natives as Pan. Okay, hold on. Destruction. Let's get you. The world has been destroyed by the Emperor using his newest secret weapon, the Dark Star 2, a bigger, more threatening battle station than the original Dark Star. But new information has made it to the RONI, Rebel Office of Naval Intelligence. Sorry, I have something. This thing's getting on my nerves. Okay. That the Emperor is now personally overseeing the station's completion, and that Levnosky, the Dark Ninja, is working alongside the Emperor to ensure the station is completed in time. For what we have no idea, Professor Ploxna. Okay, give me a second. All right. 2 more pages after this. We have found a weakness in the station's armor. As these atmospheric processing stations ringed around the equator of the station itself. They lead directly to the station's core. So if we can deploy and drop 2, maybe even 3 tactical nuclear warheads into the shafts of the atmosphere processors. And the station will go poof. Bye bye. The station will blow. Dr. Plaxa, Plaxa says, moving forward as an enhanced image of a massive cone-shaped structure zoomed in by the projector. But it must be done by a team at the station. No starfighter could have any hopes of getting to the station's surface. You'd have to get to the summit with the techniques to deploy them. Aha! So that means there's going to have to be somebody on the station. Does the station use the same weapon system as the original Dark Star, sir? Stephen asks, raising a hand. Yes, it does, Admiral. Lion says, nodding his head. It fires from an equatorial weapons array like the last Dark Star, Stephen says. Yes, it does, Stephen. King Alfonso Larkin says. It's a ring weapon system that uses the entire circumference of the station and focuses on its target, no matter where the target is around the station, just as on the original Dark Star. But it uses a larger black hole to power the station and the weapon itself. Again, there's more of that black hole stuff. They had no idea that the station is not only inhabited by Imperial troops and officers, but also by wildlife of all kinds. This could be a problem if they try to destroy the station. All sorts of birds, land animals, and creatures beneath the waves of the great ocean that encircles the station. The assault team that lands on the station will find out soon enough. Stephen, you must try to get through to the station and drop weapons down the shaft of one or two atmosphere processors, the king says now. Otherwise, this war will be over in moments. Yes, Your Highness, Stephen says. What will you need, Admiral? Land asks. 20 Imperial shuttles fitted with cloaking devices. Stephen says. What else? Special Forces Group 11 and SEAL Team 6. Stephen says. Done. Anything else? No, sir. I have the best people in the business of war at my side, sir. Plus, we have a samurai order at our back, too, Father, Julia says as she holds her samurai sword. Just get back to us, son, her father says. He knows that Stephen can be reckless sometimes, but will look after his wife and the king's daughter. Stephen's own parents nod their heads too, but only let the king speak. But Stephen knows that the vast majority of the rebel fleet will be working to the L382 system only hours after Stephen and his fleet of shuttles land on the station in an attempt to stop the Dark Star 2 going any further and destroying more worlds. The Empire has assembled most of its local fleet in the L382 system, comprising approximately 300 warships and thousands of Scorpions and Scorpion fighter bombers. Thirsty. Okay. Let me break for a second. Take a break. Chapter 3 is fun. Chapter 4 is crazy. It's like 20 pages long. I'll change that, cut it in half. I'll see when I get done later. Stephen, you get yourself and Julia back alive, my friend, Seth Dietrich says, as both men walk through the main cavernous hangar deck of a Metatron colony ship, as around them crews prime all light fighters for battle. And 20 Imperial shuttles prepare to depart for the L382 star system. I do not make any promises, Admiral, Stephen says. You do the same, brother. May God and the wind be at our backs, Sep says, nodding as he near the base of the ramp, leading to the entrance to the Eagle, as Matuk prepares the final launch sequences nearby. Hannah goes over the checklist with a droid. Matuk, his work complete, rushes off to the shuttle occupied by some samurai warriors. He'll command most of the samurai along with Master Akita. At the same time, Stephen and Julia will be confronting the Dark Ninja, their mother, and the Emperor. Stephen, ever since my parents died, I never thought I'd ever say that I'd had a family. But since we first met, I can say differently now, Sep says. I consider you a friend, and I never had. Sorry, I consider you a brother I never had, as I was an only son. Only son. I know, I had two sisters, Bonnie and Julia, Stephen says, but you are my first true brother. He hugs Stephen to his body. They hold each other briefly. The devil was that for? Sep asks as they break the embrace. I felt that we needed that, Sep, Stephen says, holding his hand out now. Good luck to us all, Stephen's. Good luck. You and your command, Admiral, Sep says, taking the offered hand briefly. You too, Admiral, Stephen says. So you'll be leading the fleet into the system? That's affirmative, Sep says. The Eagle is the fastest ship in the fleet. You didn't know You didn't know that we will be near the center of the galaxy, and we'll see the Sagittarius A star from the system too. Stephen says, System L382 is in the sweet spot that keeps the system safe from being swallowed alive by the giant red black hole. But Dark Star 2 now orbits a giant red giant around the debris field that used to be Pan. Pan? Sep asks. System L382B. On that note, last page of chapter 3, sorry. Okay, Sep says as Julia stands at the rear open hatch of an Imperial shuttle. She's waving at Stephen to hurry up the ramp into the shuttle. As Natuk rushes up in the interior of the shuttle's cargo bay. Good luck, Sep says. Good luck yourself, Admiral, Stephen says as he walks up into the rear of the shuttle. As Hannah walks up to the shuttle, the rear hatch slides shut, and then the shuttle lifts off, passing through the force field, protecting the hangar bay and the crews inside, followed by the 19 other shuttles. Moments later, the fleet of shuttles jump into hyperspace. I gotta fix one little thing. They're away. So from this point forward, we are about to resolve this war, Sep says. May we all get back alive, Admiral, Hannah says, closing her eyes. May this war end with this coming battle, Sep says, closing his eyes too. That is the end of chapter 3. Tomorrow, be a long book chapter. But I'm done with chapter 3. If you liked it, please give me a thumbs up. If you have any comments, please leave me a comment. Good, bad, doesn't matter. I will read it. Everybody comments gets. I give you feedback. Give me feedback, please. If you don't like what I read so far, don't be afraid to say something. I'm a bit of a winded, can talk a lot, but it was a chapter 4, book 5, my next book. It's not even written yet, but I don't even have a rough draft to book 5 yet, or a book title. That will come. I get to writing it. Like I did for me the other 4 books. I just can't think of a book title. This is the rest of book 4, sorry. That's chapter 4. That is chapter 4. That is one thick book. Thick chapter. Chapter 4 is the final battle to end the war. I won't tell you what happens there. That you have to wait till I read it tomorrow. No, again, like I said, if you liked my book, please give me a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, I don't care. Still give me a thumbs down. One, either way. But please, if you have any suggestions, put them in the comments. I will read them, and I have. And that it may take me a while to get back to you. Sorry. Iki will explain that to you. I'm rather slow. Writing book 4. It took me a while to get back to respond to her stuff. His stuff. But once I was able to get back in my live stream site, I was able to go. Take it from there. I need a drink. But book 3? I'm sorry, book chapter 3. Chapter 3? Oh, wow. It was a brief one. Chapter 4 will take me forever because it is a long chapter. But with all that, my friends, I call it a day. I got yard work to do. Thank you for listening. If you like it, give me a thumbs up. If you don't, again, it doesn't hurt my feelings either way. I mean, if you have comments, please be nice. Don't be no foul language. I keep my readings clean. I keep nothing. All I just ask is that you do the same. Respect my sight. Respect me. I respect everyone else. I don't. Sorry. I'm going to call it a day. Thank you for listening. Goodbye. Take care, and I'll see you tomorrow with Chapter 4.